All right, so if you'd like to close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or just find a posture feels kind of relaxed and alert. And maybe finding the support of your chair, maybe finding your feet on the ground, finding yourself here physically in this moment. And finding the natural flow of the breath, noticing that you're breathing right now. And seeing if you can just be with that natural ebb and flow of the breath for just a few moments. Just giving yourself permission to be here in your body and your experience with nothing else to do. Noticing that you're breathing in, noticing that you're breathing out. And to close this short practice, I'm going to invite you to take a few intentional breaths. I'm going to invite you to take an inhale, an extra little sip of inhale, and then a long, slow exhale. So again, that's kind of a normal inhale with a little extra sip of breath in, and then a long, slow exhale. So let's do that together 3 times. Or do it at your own pace. I'll cue you to do it 3 times. So inhaling, extra sip, long, slow exhale. Inhaling, extra little sip of breath, long, slow exhale. That can be out the mouth or the nose, maybe even with a sigh. And one last one. Inhaling, extra little inhale, and letting it all out. Invite you to just notice, how are you in this moment? If you were going to give this feeling, this state, a word or two to describe it, how are you? How are you arriving after this practice? When you're ready, opening eyes if they've been closed, coming back to our Zoom screen together. Welcome everybody that's arrived as we were breathing together. I'm going to ask you to put in the chat, how are you arriving? What is the word or a couple of words that came to mind? How are you doing right now? And thank you, Peter, for the reminder that we'll be recording just this practice in the opening and not the Q&A or anyone's shares. And as I read from chat, I won't use anybody's names just to conserve privacy there too. Got somebody who's caffeinated, already better, calm, tight. Yeah, all experiences welcome here. Anyone else want to share in chat? How are you arriving in this moment? Curious, great. All right, curious is a great segue to our theme for today. So we're going to be working with reactivity and anger. And just to be clear, these are very natural things for us to feel and experience at work and in our lives. And I wanted to bring this as a theme today because obviously it can get in the way of being who we most want to be in our work, in our home life, whatever it is. So when I'm talking about reactivity, I'm talking about things like anger, frustration, could also be shutting down, freezing, avoiding. So I'm kind of painting a broad umbrella here. Any way that you are reacting to a situation or a person in your life that you feel like it's not bringing out the best in you, you're not responding in the way that you most want to. So I'm going to give us a little experience to work with a situation and see if we can shift how we're responding to it. The goal here for me is for us to see that that reaction, that instinct to get frustrated, angry, avoid, probably has some positive intention. So we're going to assume that that reaction in you actually wants something good for you. And that by understanding that deeper intent, we can actually help it relax and help you tap into deeper wisdom and how to proceed from there. So that's kind of the context that I want to set. All of these feelings are totally normal and actually really important indicators of something else going on. And they may not be serving you because I'm going to be prompting you to think of a situation that you want to respond differently to. So I just want to be able to hold both, that there's some good intention of this reaction and there's something else that you want to have happen. There's something that's kind of getting in the way. So we will be doing a little bit of a guided visualization, and we'll kind of end with some reflection. So if you want to do the reflection by writing and want to grab a journal or something to write with or on, could also be a blank document on your computer, that works too. I'll just give you a moment to pull that out if you want to. And just to set up how we will be doing this, actually, we lost a couple of folks to go grab journals, so I'll just give them a moment to come back. Any questions? Let me pause and just see any questions about this idea that our reactive patterns might have something helpful and yet we get to shift them. Is everyone on board with that? Okay, cool. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to think of a person or a situation that activates you in some ways, who maybe triggers sadness, frustration, anger, avoidance. And we're going to see if we can shift our responses, our experience of that person or situation by learning more about our internal response. And I'll guide you through it. You don't have to do anything. What I'm going to guide you to do is to actually kind of visualize that person in a room where they kind of can't get out. You're safe from them, but you can see them through a one-way mirror. And we're going to see what gets stirred up, and then we'll do a little bit more reflection at the end. You don't have to remember that. I just think sometimes it's helpful to know where you're going, but I'll guide you. So go ahead and pick something to work with. And again, thinking about maybe a person that you find really challenging to work with, a situation where you feel some activation. On a scale from 1 to 10, I would say maybe don't go for the 10 out of 10, but looking for like a 6 or a 7, something where you can kind of feel a little charge in your body, but you're not totally ranting and raving in your own mind. Will tune me out. So I'll give you a moment to just think of something you want to work with. Person or situation. Could be something that makes you feel really nervous, again, frustrated, maybe shut down or avoidant. Anywhere where you feel like you're not responding as you really want to. Welcome, Diane. I think you just arrived in this perfect timing. I'm asking folks to think about a person or situation to work with. Somebody who kind of triggers some anger, frustration, avoidance, some response you are wanting to shift. Show of hands if does anyone need a little more time to think of something? Okay, you've got it. Great. So we're going to spend the next maybe 15 minutes kind of going into this visualization and reflection process. So if you want to kind of get comfortable, you're welcome to. I know you're in all variety of locations, so if you want to turn off cameras, lie down, or just find a comfortable seated posture, whatever works for you. And if it's helpful to close your eyes, you're welcome to do that as well. We're going to start by just taking a breath where you are. Maybe letting yourself know that you're going to try this on. Deliberately activating yourself. We'll come back to a sense of calm. You're safe here. And we're going to use the power of our imagination to see what we can work with. So go ahead when you're ready and picture that person in your life that activates you, that triggers whatever this response is that you want to work with. Imagine this person in front of you, the situation unfolding in front of you. Only imagine that they are in a room which they cannot leave, and you're on the outside. So they're in this room, and you can see them through this one-way mirror. You can see them, they can't see you. So you are totally safe. You don't need to actually interact with them yet, but you can see them. You can feel their energy. And go ahead and have this person do or say the things that they do that upsets you. If it's a situation, let that unfold in the way that activates you. So reenact whatever it is that triggers and activates this feeling in you, this response that you don't want to have. And notice what it is that happens in your body, seeing this person do whatever it is that upsets you. Noticing muscles, maybe tightness, clenching, maybe noticing a change in heart rate, breathing. Notice any thoughts or emotions that come up. You notice what's here in your response. Notice if there's sort of one main response, or maybe there are a few different indicators here. Maybe you're both angry and a little scared. Maybe you kind of want to get away, but you also want to move towards. Noticing if there's any complexity in your experience, in your response. Now we're going to look at the person or situation in that room through the eyes of that part of you that's having this reaction. So if you're angry at this person, really get into that feeling of being angry. Take time to be with and understand your reaction. How does this reaction see that person or situation in the room? You can reassure yourself you're not entering the room. You're just getting a sense of what this reaction means. If it's anger, for example, what is that anger trying to tell you? You might also ask, what does my reaction want for me? What is its intent? That part of you that's having this reaction, what is it trying to do for you? You might reassure this part of you that's having this reaction that you're not at risk. It gets to relax. You get to stay outside the room. And ask this protective reaction. Would it be willing to just dial down its energy? Maybe take a few steps back from you. Maybe you can imagine it separating from you, standing off to the side. And if that reaction, that reactive part or energy is not willing to separate, you might ask it, why not? What is it afraid of? And if it is willing to separate, thank it for giving you some space and recheck yourself, seeing if you notice any shift in your body, your heart rate or breath, your thoughts or emotions. And take a look again at that person or situation inside the room. How does that person look now? Do you notice any shifts in how you respond? And without entering that room, just see how it would feel if you were to go into that room and be with that person. Does it feel different now? If you were to go into that room, what might you express from your heart? What feels true? And if you ask that part of you that has that reaction and had maybe stepped back, it's been watching, maybe ask it, can it begin to trust you? So if you've been working, for example, with a person you're angry at, can that anger trust you that you'll take care of the situation? Just see how it responds to that idea. When you're ready, thank your reaction for the support it's giving you, for its intent to probably protect you in some way. Feels right, sending it some appreciation for its response, for being here to help protect you from this person or situation in the room. And I invite you to take a couple of deep breaths. Maybe trying out if that felt calming to you before, that double inhale, long exhale type of breath can be very calming. And just notice if you feel any shift in how you're relating to this challenging person or situation. When you're ready, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes, pull out your journal. I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes to write on a couple of prompts to continue reflecting on this situation. First one is just, did you notice any shift in how you're relating to this challenging situation or person? Do you notice any shift in how you're relating to this challenging situation or person? And if not, maybe explore what feels so stuck. And if so, continuing to explore what the shift might mean. Bringing that sentence to a close. The second and final prompt is, what are you learning about your response to challenging emotions and situations? What are you learning about your response to challenging emotions and situations? So is there something more general here beyond this particular person or situation? Maybe seeing some good intent about your reactivity, maybe something else. All right, I'm bringing that sentence to a close. And I'm going to invite if anyone wants to share into the chat an insight you want to take away or how you might proceed differently now that you've had a little bit of time to reflect and be with your response.